They look so different from the rest of us. It's easiest just to look the other way. Yet 80% of dwarves are born to average-sized parents. A dwarf baby will never grow taller than 4 feet.
When we found out that the baby was going to be born with a form of dwarfism, I mean, for us, it was something totally out of the blue.
No one chooses to be a dwarf. It can be a life filled with emotional pain.
I have suffered being a dwarf, but it's okay. My family and I have created a story that I think is important for the world to see.
Dwarfism can cause huge medical complications.
It is dangerous. You take a saw, an electric saw, and saw through the bone.
But dwarfism can also be an extraordinary difference, a catalyst that puts life into focus.
Hi. Can I help you? Yeah, do you have this coat in my size?
Tim Rodman is 17 years old. His high school prom is 3 weeks away. He's got a date, and he really wants to look like one of the guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I look at myself in the mirror, I guess I see an average person by my standards, but not necessarily by an average person's standards, because I'm half their size. Also, when I look in the mirror, I see someone who's outgoing and funny and, is smart in some instances.
3'8". Roughly how much do you weigh?
About 95.
What you need to do is hold your arms out like an airplane. Okay, go ahead, put your arms down. And what's your shoe size?
11 and a half.
11 and a half?
Mm-hmm.
At 17, Tim is as tall as he'll ever be, the same height as the average 5-year-old.
Right there. Hook.
That doesn't faze his 14-year-old sister, Anna.
I've seen kids be mean to him, and it really bothers me. I don't like it when other people look at him funny, or if they point or they call him names. I just want to go up and smack him in the face.
But being short is the least of Tim's problems. He has an extremely rare form of dwarfism. It wasn't evident at birth, but before long, his bones began to twist into deformed shapes.
When Tim was born, he was 8 pounds 9 ounces. He was 21 inches long. He was bright-eyed, really alert. When my husband Dave took him into the nursery to give him his first bath, there was a little bump on Tim's right shin.
When the doctor told us that Tim had some problems with the bones, it was pretty, devastating, being the first son and really wanting to have a son. And it was concerning. I mean, he didn't know exactly what the diagnosis was, and it took a long time.
Nice shot. So they took a full body x-ray, and every long bone had a cup of cartilage on the end of each of his long bones. His ribs were all cartilage, there was pieces in his scalp that were cartilage, and they had never seen anything like that.
The diagnosis was an extremely rare form of dwarfism, known as Janssen type MTC, the result of a spontaneous mutation of a single gene at conception. There are only a few cases of Janssen type MTC in the United States. A person with MTC is a prisoner of gravity. As the body grows heavier, the soft bone ends are compressed into huge deformities. The ribs bulge outwards, and the legs twist and curve like an archer's bow. Before Tim started walking, its effects were barely noticeable. But with each passing year, his disability worsened.
Hey, Dad. I'm all right. I like it.
I remember the first time that Tim ever showed concern about his own condition.
Get all worse.
It was the first grade, and the fathers and sons lined up for a little race to a map on the gym floor. So we got in line, not thinking anything different, because Tim could get around okay. We got to the head of the line, and he looked up at me, and he whispered for me to kneel down so he could talk to me. And whoops. Excuse me. Anyway, he looked at me and he said, "Dad, I don't want to do this because I wibble wobble when I run."
By the time he was 10, Tim could barely walk. His doctor performed a temporary remedy, 4 traumatic operations in which Tim's bones were sawed open and straightened. His legs were sealed in a body cast that kept him motionless during 4 months of painful recovery. Throughout the ordeal, performed at a hospital 3,000 miles from his home, Tim's mother, Liz, never left his side. After 5 weeks of grueling physical therapy, Tim was on his feet again. His legs still looked deformed, but now his leg bones were straight enough to make walking possible. Seven years later, on the night of his senior prom, Tim is painfully aware that he must now endure another round of intense surgeries. A teenage growth spurt has sparked another explosion of cartilage, and his leg bones are bowing and twisting once again.
Well, I hope not. On Sunday, and he could take it off Monday. Okay.
He can barely stand without his orthopedic braces.
Here we go. When the doctor gave us the news, that he would need to have leg surgery, I was the first one to shed a tear before Tim, so I had to leave the room so he wouldn't see.
All right.
When I see Tim's condition getting worse, that's hard for me. I get discouraged, but not around Tim, because I'm trying to be positive when I'm with Tim.
Tim's surgery has been scheduled for October. But this is May, and his prom date, Karen, is waiting for him at home. When Evelyn and Paul married in 1995, they could not have been happier. They had their careers, they had each other, and soon they had a baby on the way.
This is our new video camera that we got for Christmas. The reason we got this is because towards the end of June, we're gonna have a baby. There's Evelyn. So this tape will be our baby tape. Hi, baby. We have no idea what else
I
we're going to put on
thought
it.
this is a great time in life to be having a baby. We're settled, we've done some traveling. Everything's great. So I was really looking forward to this special bond that I would have with this baby.
Evelyn enjoyed an uneventful pregnancy. But at 8 months, she had grown so large that her midwife feared the fetus might be upside down. She suggested an ultrasound.
Okay, here's the forehead, follow it over. Oh, I see.
That one flickering image changed everything.
Kind of hard to see, because I was trying to
It appeared
adjust
that the
the
baby's head was abnormally large. For Evelyn and Paul, bliss was replaced by terror.
This is too bright.
We had no idea what was expected.
I was holding everything in the hope that there was a mistake. There was no problem, and they were just worrying.
The next examination was labeled ultra high risk.
They gave us the envelope, and we talked to the geneticist. Sorry. And they told us. Then it became real.
The evidence was unmistakable. The baby's head had developed a term, but the arms and legs were at 7.5 months. The geneticist told them the baby growing inside Evelyn's body was a dwarf. And there was nothing anyone could do but wait.
I'd never seen a baby with dwarfism, ever. So all of a sudden, you start to wonder, what is this baby gonna look like? What's inside me?
As her delivery date grew nearer, Evelyn became obsessed and frantic. On the internet, she learned there are 200 kinds of dwarfism, and that her baby could die shortly after birth. Evelyn told her friends and relatives what she and Paul were facing, and acted out the rituals of approaching motherhood in a kind of trance. Evelyn searched for someone to blame and found only herself.
Even though they told me, you know, there's nothing that you could have done or not done that would have caused this, no more than whether the baby has brown hair or blonde hair. There's nothing that I did. But it takes a long time to actually let that go.
She went through the final weeks of her pregnancy, haunted by one guilty thought. What if she couldn't love her new baby?
When I was between the ages of 17 and 24, I very much liked my body. I realized I was a dwarf, but it didn't matter.
Ricardo Gill is a photographer who lives in Albany, California. One of his favorite subjects is the landscape of his own 45-inch body.
For many years, I always thought I was very handsome and very good looking, and I thought I had nice skin, and I liked the proportions of my body.
But much of the world beyond his darkroom saw Ricardo as a freak.
I think living as a dwarf, I experienced quite a bit of anger and frustration and probably great sadness because there is so much taunting, so much ridicule, so much name-calling. It's sometimes unbearable to be always on, to always be taunted, to always be pointed out. Look at the midget. Look, hey!
Ricardo Gill has always been the center of attention, usually for the wrong reasons. As a boy in Puerto Rico, he was treated like a cute oddity. His dwarfism, cartilage hair hypoplasia, is hereditary, carried as a recessive gene by both of his parents. One of Ricardo's brothers is also a dwarf. In his 20s, Ricardo moved to Hollywood to be an actor.
The dwarf in Hollywood is usually depicted in very demeaning character roles. They're evil, oftentimes. I remember taking a job where I was supposed to double as a pig.
Ricardo's acting career ended when he nearly broke his neck during a movie stunt. At the age of 28, he had a permanent limp and a hostile attitude. Ricardo had toyed with photography in college. Now he discovered that his camera could be a weapon of self-discovery and revenge.
I just really began noticing how tall the people were and how most people would look at me and then look away.
Increasingly, Ricardo's photography became an act of retaliation and control. In his images, he could decapitate his average-sized subjects and slice them down to size.
I'd enact some vengeance against the average-sized people by cutting off their faces.
Then, 9 years ago, an average-sized person entered Ricardo's world and changed his life. Dressed to kill on the night of his senior prom, 17-year-old Tim Rodman summons his courage for the first challenge of the evening, meeting his date's father.
We're finally here. The time has come. There's someone new.
Hi. I don't think I've met you. I'm Mike. Karen's dad. Come on in.
Okay.
Make yourself comfortable.
Hello. Hi. Well, this is kind of nerve-wracking, just waiting and not talking. What's he thinking? Hopefully I set a good impression.
Tim's nervous about Karen, too. What will she be wearing? Will she think he looks good in a tux?
Women always take so long. How do I greet her? Do I, shake hands? Do I kiss her hand? Do I do anything? You look great. She's very feathery. She looks good. Very good.
Okay.
Off of it.
That's okay. I'm shedding feathers now. I'll shed.
Karen is nearly 2 feet taller than Tim, but to her, that's a minor detail. Like Tim, she is intent on having a fantasy evening.
Watch, I'll probably poke you.
Is
that too high?
No, it's fine.
Good?
Good.
You like it?
Good.
Dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. It's okay, now. I didn't catch that one. So we're arriving in
A limo.
Hi, Tim. Hey. Hi.
It's nice that she offered to get down instead of standing.
When Tim was very young, he looked at me and he said, "Well, Mom, who would ever love a little person, someone like me?"
Tim is the center of attention with the girls of Silverton Union High.
Say is two letters. Hey, did Liz come to the, did Liz come?
Don't get that in there. Wow.
In high school, that whole aspect of dating and marriage became like a reality. Like, yes,
Glorious night. Tim lets loose.
I was feeling very free. I guess with no holds barred. I didn't care how I looked, I guess.
While he dances, Tim forgets what he cannot avoid. 6 major operations and months of painful recovery, if he is ever to dance or walk again.
Well, here we are, June 9th, 1999, and it's quite early in the morning. Oh, and we're just...
Here's a picture of us. In case you're in the ICU, we're going to put this up in your bed.
Yeah, and this is all the stuff we've got to take to the hospital.
3 weeks after an ultrasound verified that her baby is a dwarf, Evelyn's delivery date has come. She had hoped for a natural childbirth, but the baby's large head makes a cesarean section mandatory.
You ready?
Yeah. We'll be little again. I remember the C-section. I was terrified. I never wanted to have a C-section.
Be fine. Just remember to breathe.
Just remember to breathe. Okay, here we go. Wave bye.
Bye.
Her husband Paul is with her, videotaping each step of the way. But there are no guarantees on how their home movie will end. They know the baby is a dwarf, but there are 200 kinds of dwarfism. Some types bring huge medical complications. There's a real chance their baby could die shortly after birth. Moments before surgery, Evelyn starts to cry. It isn't until the baby is actually born that the doctors will know what kind of dwarfism it has.
The birth, it was very quick. I think it was probably 10 minutes and the baby was born.
Big chubby. Chubby kid. Chubby.
I don't remember. Oh, that's the sections, no? Yeah. They had a bit of trouble pulling her out just because her head was a little bit bigger.
We haven't even looked.
Just breathe.
Let's see the baby's genitals. That's important. Oh, yeah. Your kid is girl.
It's a girl.
It's a baby girl.
But the baby isn't breathing. Before Evelyn can hold or even see her firstborn child, a team of doctors work frantically to establish her independent breathing. When she is revived, the doctors make their diagnosis.
So cute.
She is what is commonly known as an achon baby, born with achondroplasia, the most common form of dwarfism. For Paul, fascination overrules fear.
Oh, she was adorable. She really was. When I first saw her, she was just adorable. As soon as you see the baby, it's just like every other baby. You look at her and you know, she's just adorable. She's looking up at you, you know.
But Evelyn is dizzy and confused.
Once the baby was born, waiting for them to bring the baby over to me, it wasn't like I felt this overwhelming maternal surge of love. I guess I was looking for something to be terribly different about her.
Staring at her newborn, Evelyn sees only the classic signs of achondroplasia. The large head and deeply rooted nose, the trident fingers and shortened arms and legs.
I wasn't reacting as a mother. I wasn't reacting with a maternal love yet. Of course, this made me feel bad that I was still looking at this baby as what part of the textbook does it fit into?
Evelyn.
And then it happens. 3 days after Emily is born, the dam breaks.
And I remember thinking, you know, she's so beautiful, you know? And I'm so relieved that she's okay. And that's when I fell in love with her.
Mother and child have bonded, but Evelyn still faces the awesome challenge of preparing a little person for a full-sized world.
With the beach, the water.
When Ricardo met Meg, it was love at first sight. She was 30 and had never known another dwarf.
Tell me if I'm going to get wet, okay?
Instantly, she felt the passion of Ricardo's photography and the pain that inspired it.
See my hand?
When Ricardo and I first met, I remember this incident where some young men were teasing us. This was my first time where the teasing hadn't just been generated at me, but that someone else who I was caring about was being ridiculed. And so I grew very angry.
Meg wanted a family, but she and Ricardo had a 50% chance of having a dwarf child. Ricardo did not want his own children to repeat his life of ridicule and rage.
Okay.
In 1990, Meg became pregnant.
Just a little bit like that? Yeah.
Lily was born average-sized, even though the doctors had predicted she would be a dwarf.
I felt when Lily was born and realized she wasn't going to be a dwarf, a sense of relief for her that she wouldn't have to go through the teasing or the medical problems that could happen with somebody with achondroplasia. I also felt a slight feeling of, could we be as close as I would be with a baby who had dwarfism?
The seagull's waiting for us.
When Lily was born, I was ecstatic, and this was a surprise to me because for a very long time I didn't want to have children. Here was this beautiful baby. She was normal. We were a family. We had done something that the average size couple would do as well.
Ricardo Gill now had a child that belonged to the enemy camp. Much to his own surprise, it was a cause for celebration.
As a family, when we would go out with Lily, with her average size proportions, we felt more normal. We felt that Lily was the buffer, that we now were a part of both communities.
But there are constant challenges for two dwarves rearing an average-sized child.
It was a hard moment when I realized I couldn't carry her up the stairs anymore. And I carried her a lot when she was a baby, more than people thought I should. I knew it was important for our bonding and also for her security and her development.
Oh, does she know how to French
Sister,
braid?
I think
Lily is now 9 years old. At 3 feet 11 inches, she is almost as tall as her mother.
Does she know how?
I don't think she did. I worried that for Lily, having two dwarf parents, that she would be in some kind of spotlight where she'd have to defend herself. And I wish that didn't have to happen for her.
Oh, I like it.
Okay. And one time when we were taking her to her gymnastics class, some of the children were teasing about the little mom, meaning me, and Lily said, "That's my little mom, and I love her," and put her arm around me.
I sometimes say, these are my parents, and they can do everything that your parents can do. They're just little.
Will you open the door for me? Thanks. Okay.
People point at my parents and laugh and make sure other people notice. And it makes me mad because I think my parents are good and I like them being little.
Why is today? Oh, you know, those are those potato chips I want to get.
Oh,
Will
yeah.
Wait. I'll slow down. Okay, now. Super. Oh,
What
let's
else
go.
do we need?
Here we go. The corn flakes right there.
I'm growing taller every year and I feel good about that.
Yeah, that's great.
At like the grocery store. Like I climb up on the shelves and I reach things that they can't reach.
Grandpa likes. Lily,
Yeah.
this is an exotic nut. It's called a raisin.
It's not a nut.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
It's become exciting for her to become taller than her papa. We're very comfortable with the fact that we're different sizes and she's growing taller than us. Although it's often a question people will ask, well, how will you parent when she's taller? And we don't parent by using our bodies or physical force. You know, it's out of respect and compassion that we parent.
Lily led Ricardo into the average-sized world. But Ricardo wanted her to understand her special heritage as well. How could he make her see his world? The answer was waiting in the lens of his camera. Every July, Tim attends the annual convention of the Little People of America. Usually, he's in a mood to socialize, but this year, just getting around a hotel in Minnesota is a struggle.
My body's changed pretty drastically since prom. I had more stamina. I could stand longer and I could walk farther. Hi. Hi. Do you have a hospitality?
Since prom, Tim's been less mobile. He becomes more short of breath when he walks. The last 3 weeks of school, of his high school, he took his scooter to school, and he just woke up one morning and said, "There's something moving in my leg."
Everybody make little right angles with your hands, just like this. Now face your partner.
The LPA convention attracts thousands of little people from around the world. For many, it's the only place they can hope to find a partner.
This is your connection.
They're like, okay, this is my goal, to find a boyfriend or girlfriend here. They definitely come for romance here at the LPA convention because maybe they've tried having a relationship with an average-sized person and they don't really feel comfortable.
Kick. Send her out.
And so all their emotions start, balling up, and so they release them here at the LPA convention.
But Tim's only emotion tonight is despair. Just 7 weeks after he danced the night away at his high school prom, he can't make it through a single dance. His aching bones condemn him to sit and watch while everyone else is having fun.
When I'm sitting on the sidelines watching a dancer, I sometimes think, well, I can't imagine anyone, a girl finding me attractive or, good-looking, sitting on a scooter. But I think there's always next year because I'm not going to necessarily be on the scooter.
This year, Tim has no choice. His leg bones are bowing and buckling under the pressure of his deformed growths. At the giant Mall of America, he needs a scooter to keep up with his friends.
I love the swings. You want to go on the swings?
I got my collar. You can try it. Can I just check your height real quick? Sorry. Okay. Here, turn around with your back up against the sign and stand up real straight for me. I think you're just up to the line. I think I can let you on. Okay. All right.
Getting through the gate is one thing. Getting on the ride is another.
All right, thank you.
Tim is growing weaker. Too weak to pull himself onto the ride.
I think we need help.
He is becoming increasingly dependent on other people. In just 7 short weeks, Tim's life has changed. The confidence of prom night is a distant memory. His future depends on what happens in an operating room 3 months from now.
You can see everything from up here.
For Ricardo Gill and his family, home is a sanctuary where they define what is normal.
I know.
What was this, for Father's Day?
I think so, last year.
We love you, Papa Ricardo. I love this plate. One of my favorite plates, Lily. I think we're running out of
Meg
room.
teaches kindergarten at a private school. For Ricardo, who is on disability pension, this domestic life is the most stable and loving he has ever known.
His side of the bed. You just sit down.
Oh, thanks. My knees are hurting me a little bit today, yeah.
It has helped him to subdue his anger and enrich his art.
Lily being born has helped to bring out Ricardo's photography.
My first photographs, I photographed Meg's swollen belly. And from then on, it progressed little by little. I began documenting my average-sized daughter, my dwarf wife, myself, the dwarf family, and it began becoming more of an intense project for me. It is my hope that Lily will have these photographs as a legacy to the way she lived with dwarf parents. It is a testament to our life. I hope that after Meg and I are gone, she will look back and have just incredible memories of her family.
And in the process of leaving a legacy for Lily, Ricardo found his voice as an artist. At long last, Ricardo Gil has made peace with himself.
My photography has proven to me a teaching tool, a way of examining the world of both the average and the dwarf, and seeing that now it's okay to be a dwarf. If it hadn't been for my being a dwarf, this story, this portfolio of images, would have never been created.
A year after their daughter Emily was born with dwarfism, Evelyn and Paul are expecting their second child. The risks of another dwarf baby are almost non-existent.
Want to play some more piano? I love being Emily's dad. She's just adorable. I mean, that's the only word I can use to describe her. That's it. That's it.
For Paul,
Yeah, you got
raising Emily has been an adventure in acceptance and joy.
Try another one.
But for Evelyn, fear has been a constant companion.
If Emily was too quiet in her crib, I would run in and figure that sudden infant death syndrome had got her. The hole in the bottom of their skull where their spinal cord goes through can be a little bit tight. That can cause a compression of the spinal cord near the respiratory center of the brain. They can die from that. Click in for safety.
Evelyn discovered that with an Acon baby, all the rules change.
An Acon baby develops in a totally different way. Things like walking, crawling, sitting, those are all delayed. Emily won't walk until she is between 2 and 3 years of age. Here comes your sandwich, Sweet Pea. Sandwich. There you go. What do you say? You're welcome.
Emily won't be sitting up by herself until she is almost 2. Her head is too heavy for her weak neck muscles to support.
Did you finish saying hi to Emily?
In a playgroup, her physical limitations are clear. Other 1-year-olds are already running. Emily is not yet able to roll over. For Evelyn, the challenge is to overlook her daughter's impediments and focus on her gifts.
What I notice now is the difference in the language skills. Because the other children are walking, they're not talking as much as Emily is. So I'm really proud of that. I'm proud of her as a person.
You could even help her come to the side and lift her head that way.
Yeah, she does that.
Does she?
Yep.
Even the therapists who come to monitor Emily's development are impressed.
Is that a bit too...
Considering the average 1-year-old has a vocabulary of 2 or 3 words, Emily's language skills are amazing.
Forward. See, she's up to over 20 words in her vocabulary.
After a long struggle with worry, Evelyn is finally learning to relax and enjoy her baby.
I'm very lucky. You know, Emily's very, very healthy. I expected the worst, and I think a lot of that worry was unnecessary.
But no matter how much her parents love her, Emily's life in the average-sized world will never be easy.
I do worry that she will have a lot of challenges with the way people are going to perceive her. People are going to assume a lot based on the fact that she's going to be short, that she might be a little bit different.
One lesson is paramount. Emily's future happiness will depend on how she sees herself.
My sunshine. 90% of it's going to be attitude. It's Emily's attitude and how she faces the challenges that she has in life. I don't think it's really going to matter what life throws at her. She's going to be able to deal with it. Hey, Emily. Give me a cheesy grin.
October, Towson, Maryland. 17-year-old Tim and his mother Liz arrive at St. Joseph's Medical Center.
Don't let me push them down, Tim. Hold it nice. Very good, nice and strong. What year high school are you now?
They will be here for 6 weeks for a series of operations that will attempt to straighten Tim's legs. If the procedures are successful, Tim will never need another operation.
Nice. Over here.
To get you to be at a good level of pain management so that you are not in any distress for patients.
Step by step, Tim is prepared for the ordeal ahead.
Give yourself a chance to get adjusted to being in the body cast. You're going to be dependent on people for turning, helping you eat, go to the bathroom.
Dr. Stephen Kopitz, Tim's orthopedic surgeon, is also bracing himself for the weeks that lie ahead. The surgical procedures on Tim's legs will be the most complex that Dr. Kopitz has ever faced in 35 years of experience with thousands of dwarf patients.
Tim keeps his sufferings to himself. Highly intelligent, hard worker, and he will persevere throughout this whole process until he gets his goal. Because he has his thoughts in order.
But during a preoperative exam, even Dr. Kopitz is shocked by what he sees. In the past 3 years, Tim's leg bones have bowed and twisted so drastically that success is far from certain. Dr. Kopitz must tell Tim that he might face amputation.
Now this surgery is very risky to the integrity of your limb. One of the risks is to lose your limb.
It is a somber day for the teenager who danced so freely at his high school prom 16 weeks ago.
His final words to me out in the car was, "Just don't let them take my leg."
Despite his fears, Tim faces surgery the following morning. Unless he risks everything, he will be confined to a wheelchair for the rest of his life.
I'm feeling a little anxious to get these over with. How are you?
Good.
With 2 operations of Tim's hips already complete, Dr. Kopitz prepares for the critical surgery on the left leg bone.
Okay, if you would put the mask on. Hi, Tony.
Morning, sir. First, the surgeon must slice through the scar tissue left from the operation when Tim was 10.
Okay, so it's probably safe to go through here because there shouldn't be anything.
Then, beneath a layer of muscle, he reveals a section of twisted bone. With the eye of a sculptor, Dr. Kopitz visualizes the shape and mechanics of the reconstructed leg. Using an electric saw, he removes a half-inch section of bone. It will be used later in this operation to lengthen the other side of Tim's left leg.
Okay, got it.
If all goes well, the ends of the severed bone will fuse and heal. After 6 hours, the procedure is complete. It will be the quickest of the 6 long operations that Tim needs.
Okay. Okay. You just had the Toradol. Okay. You had Toradol, fentanyl, and
yeah.
Fantastic.
And sulfur.
Very nice.
Okay.
Very nice.
And Decadol and everything else. All done.
Tim awakens in a cast that extends from his waist to his toes. Inside that solid prison, Tim's bones will be forced to heal straight.
Are you warm enough?
No.
I don't know why. We're gonna get you some warm blankets.
When Liz arrives, Tim is in agony.
Hey, T.
How are you, babe? My leg. Your leg hurts? Can you use your button? I just did. Did you?
A constant drip of morphine can barely numb the pain.
Do you feel that medicine kicking in yet, Tim?
Sorta.
Sorta.
Still to come, 2 more operations. Then another 3 months before Tim's body cast is cut away. Each operation is followed by a week of recovery, made bearable only by the morphine drip that Tim administers himself every 6 minutes.
Hey, T. How you doing?
Okay.
Are you?
Yeah.
You comfortable in that position?
His mother maintains a constant vigil on a hospital cot beside Tim's bed.
Is that medicine working at all?
Yeah.
Good.
The best possible scenario is that he be able to walk unrestricted in his home and outside the home for about 3 blocks.
And then the staple.
It is a devastating ordeal and a remarkable triumph.
Kind of cool. I like that the world one too.
The world's greatest?
Fueled by the love of family, the frontiers of medicine, and the unbreakable spirit of an extraordinary boy.
Oh, yeah? Tim is encouraged that there's a light at the end of the tunnel and that something good will be coming out of this, that once his legs are surgically straightened and he's gone through the therapy, then he'll be able to do the things that he wants to do. Your toes getting any warmer?
A little bit.
Should I hold them?
Let's see, 6, 7 months from now, I will have a fairly good idea as to what he can do and how far he is going to come. He will dance again. Yes, he will dance.
After 8 weeks in hospital, Tim flew home to Oregon. The operations were a success. Doctors say Tim will never need another round of operations. But even without medical complications, a little person's life is a daily battle for dignity. People still stare at Ricardo, but through his art, he now celebrates what others laugh at. His unique vision of a little person's life is a window into a world where being different can be a triumph.